Count Dracula is a role that's not unlike, say, something like James Bond, where it is this character that's been around for so long, has become so iconic and so coveted by actors if they can find the right guy and get this perfect marriage of performance and character. It's something that can live in infamy and be celebrated by audiences. Where if it's not so good, if it's not that great of an actor, not that great of a performance, George Lazenby, Triple H, then it's kind of falling by the wayside. People kind of forget about it. And a great number of actors have portrayed Dracula, and some of my favorites include, Bela Lugosi, of course, Christopher Lee. He kind of cornered the market on Dracula for a while. And Gary Oldman, I thought, was terrific in the 1992 Coppola film. So one thing I'll admit is that I've never seen the Frank Langella version. So I wanted to correct that this year. I watched it for the very first time, and I was very excited to do so. Didn't know too much about it going in, but, turned all the lights off, had my, man cave set up, I have a digital projector, surround sound, all that good stuff. I'm watching the movie, I'm starting to get into it. We have the credits. First thing I notice is great music, which I find in the credits. It's composed by John Williams. Like, what a great thing to learn, and it is indeed a great score. And we have not only Langella, but we have a great cast, and we have Laurence Olivier playing Van Helsing. How amazing is that? And Donald Pleasance playing a role as well. So what a great lineup in this movie. So I'm watching this film and getting into it. But then this feeling of unease kind of falls upon me, where it's not an unease through the content of the movie itself, but rather what I'm kind of seeing on the screen. And I'm starting to think in the back of my head, is there something wrong with my projectors? Is there something wrong with the picture? The movie, it looks a little bit strange. It looks a little bit washed out. And so, not knowing anything about this movie, suddenly I've stumbled upon this controversy of some kind about the movie's color coding on home video. Now, this is the DVD version, and the same can be said of the Blu-ray version as well. But the director of the film, John Badham, kind of tinkered around with it a little bit and desaturated the color quite a bit. So basically, as I understand, the story goes something like this. The film is based on a stage play which experienced a revival in the 1970s, which starred Langella, and they're like, we gotta get Langella to do this movie. And the kind of novel thing about the play was that in the set decoration and the costumes, everything like that, it was a largely black and white tone to it. So complete set decorations, black and white costumes, black and white, except for the actors and their skin, basically, and apparently one red item per scene, basically. So he wanted to base the play, the film on the play as accurately as possible, and he wanted to film the movie in black and white. Studio said no, and that would seem to be the end of it. So he filmed it in color. It was released theatrically in color before DVD, released on home video, VHS, televised, and Laserdisc, all in color. And to be fair, the DVD and Blu-ray, they're in color as well, but due to its now digital coding, he was able to tinker with the color of the film quite a bit. His intent being to, one, kind of match the tone of the play a little bit more, and two, in his words, I'm paraphrasing, but in his words, make it look like a Victorian etching of some kind. And I'm watching this, and I'm liking the movie for what it is, but I'm not digging this aesthetic choice, which is bothersome and frustrating, considering that a full color version that, by all accounts, looked very good and looked vibrant and as intended to be in a colorized version, shot in Technicolor, what have you. It looks good. This version does not look good. It looks washed out. It looks unpleasant. And you can kind of argue the director's kind of getting his own way with this color coding, but the thing is, the movie wasn't shot to be black and white. And, I mean, there's a distinct difference in the cinematography of filming in something in black and white as opposed to color. It's just lit differently, filmed differently. So here it's kind of a compromise in washing out a colorized version when you have a perfectly good color version just sitting around and doing nothing, which is problematic. And, you know, you kind of look to movies like, say, The Mist and Mad Max Fury Road is a recent example. Those are movies where we have gotten and are getting black and white versions where you can kind of almost think to yourself, well, why can't I just adjust settings on my TV and make it black and white? Well, no, it's a process that they have to go through. It's much more complicated than that to make it look right, which maybe Badham should undergo, but here the movie looks terrible. And the thing is, I can tell you great things about this movie. I can tell you how great Frank Langella is in the role of Dracula. Truly charming and sexual, the way Dracula kind of has become, and him playing a very important role in personifying that, and a certain kind of sadness that he takes to the role, which I felt was very effective. This sad and desperate kind of last of his kind of character, seeking out his love for his bride-to-be, basically, which I thought was a great aspect to the story. I can tell you Laurence Olivier, one of the greatest actors of all time, great in the role of Van Helsing, even more, admirable in the fact that apparently he was at death's door doing this movie, but thespian that he is, he kind of beat on and did the role to great effect. I can tell you Donald Pleasance is great as well in his role. And I can tell you the set decoration is phenomenal. I can tell you the climax of the film is exciting and thrilling and very well done. But it's all just so distracting to see it in this muddied version of the movie, which I feel like it's very hard to kind of judge the movie as a whole, knowing, like, if this were the way it had always been, maybe that's one thing, but knowing that, like, there's a Laserdisc version out there that has the full color, there's been televised broadcasts that have the full color, I feel kind of ripped off. I think this is an inappropriate decision at the part of the director. I really do, and I would like to someday see the full color version. I feel like I'm seeing an incomplete movie in a certain sense, which is upsetting to me. But as the content goes, I think it is a good telling of the story of Dracula. I think it's very effective with great acting, and the music is just phenomenal. I mean, John Williams, you can't go all too wrong, and of course, as goes with the territory, with Dracula, there are some very scary scenes, including one with Van Helsing encountering someone who he thought to be dead, and perhaps still is. And I think there are many great things to the movie, but the visual aesthetic on this home video release is a problem. It is sacrilege, is what it is. So that's a problem. But I don't know. So it's hard to say. Anyone out there, have you seen the actual full color version? Am I just listening to people telling tales that it's a much better looking version? Is this the version that I should enjoy? Because I kind of don't. So I don't know. I leave it on kind of an indecision there. But I mean, it's a good movie despite that. I would say there's some great things about it, but I feel like I haven't seen the true version of it. That's a problem. People say all these things about, let's say like Star Wars, George Lucas messing with the movie and things like that. Even like someone like Steven Spielberg, he kind of learned his lesson with tinkering with E.T. and kind of pushed his alternate version aside. Here, this is a defamation of a film that's kind of gone under my nose this whole time. And as much as I liked Frank Langella in the role of Dracula, especially I love Dracula in general. I just think it's such a great, brooding, gothic story that's always ripe for a retelling. And I think this version has great things to it. Part of me wishes I never saw it and never knew about this controversy, and now I'll be haunted by just wondering if I'll ever get to see the actual version, the actual color version of the movie. So, yeah, that's my review of Dracula. It's a 1979 version. Not bad, but I wouldn't recommend it. I'd say wait until maybe there's a full-color version. Or maybe the Laserdisc rip can be found online. I don't know. I have a lot more research to do. So that's it. Comment, rate, subscribe, all that good stuff. Visit Derek237.com. And until next time, I'll see you later.